Welcome to the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra.
Where honesty and service comes first.
Serving Williamson County for over 70 years. Visit us at Moody's Tire for all your tire and automotive needs.
Stop by and see us at 1600 Columbia Avenue.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into this edition of the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra. I'm Joe Williams, the sports editor of the Williamson Herald, along with our expert, Maurice Patton, who's getting more used to that term every week. Partner, we are at Brentwood High School. Friday night, old rivalry, big things on the line this time. Brentwood going to be hosting Centennial. Both of these teams undefeated in their region, looking to battle Henry County. And I've tried to think of a way to set this contest up. And it's like so many of the other rivalries in this county. All you really got to do is name the two schools and get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the few rivalries that the TSSAA wasn't able to taint with the reclassification. It still means something. Like you said, they're both at the top of Region 7-5A along with Henry County, and there's kind of a round robin between those three teams here coming down the stretch. But this is a big one because the winner stays undefeated going into the final 2 weeks of this thing. Brentwood goes to Henry County next week, and they'd like to be undefeated going into that one. Centennial gets Henry County here to wind up the season, and they'd like to be undefeated there. So, because I think we're kind of counting on Henry County being undefeated when they get to those two games. But it's a big matchup.
It's going to be a big matchup, of course. The terrible trip Brentwood's got to take next week, we'll talk about next week, because it's a 4-day lunch packer to go all the way to Paris, but that's another story. This game's Friday night. Defense key for Centennial anyway. They are letting people have less than 2 yards a run.
You know, they are really stoning folks, and they have ever since the Independence game. They really bounced back from that game in a big way. That was a big loss for them. Really kind of left a mark, and I think they have put a lot of distance between themselves and that 49-6 performance. What I've been surprised with is what they've been able to do offensively, kind of piecing things together. Once they lost their top two quarterbacks, Tristan Piscani and Blake Lovell, they were able to get by with the Duro kid and just get enough out of the passing game. And with Mondu Sawyers and with Tyrell Dotson maybe contributing a little bit more in the running game that they had anticipated coming into the year. Those two guys both had big games last week against Clarksville.
Yeah, they did. Tristan came in, ran some things on the offense, so obviously he's feeling better. That's going to be probably the biggest game in Williamson County on Friday night, unless you reside about a mile and a half up the road, where the Brentwood Academy Eagles will be hosting MBA in what is it's as much a blood match as anything else.
It is, but you know, it kind of what takes a little bit from that game is you feel like they're probably going to see each other again sometime in November, because all 11 teams in Division II AA go to the playoffs, and you're basically playing for seeding. Obviously, Brentwood Academy wants to get this one, coming off a big win last week against Ainsworth. MBA's undefeated. They're the defending D2AA state champs. They want to stay undefeated. So, like you said, it's a big matchup, but it's not as big as it will be in a month when they meet again.
One other game that lost a little bit of luster last week. Independence, undefeated, kind of enjoying itself right now, has to go to Shelbyville in what was supposed to be, the region championship game here. It may still could be, I grant you. But Shelbyville's loss to Lincoln County, both a shocker and a deflator.
Yeah, Lincoln County didn't get the message that both these teams were supposed to be undefeated coming into this one. Kind of reminds me of my senior year back in 1982 when I had tickets to the NCAA tournament down at Vanderbilt, where Kentucky and Louisville were supposed to play in the second round, and MTSU threw a monkey wrench in that one of the biggest wins in their history, beating Kentucky in the opener. So, like I said, Lincoln County didn't quite cooperate. Still going to be a great ball game. Still a lot on the line, but more from a standpoint of Independence trying to run the table here at this point. Shelbyville kind of in that spoiler role right now.
Interesting note to remember about Lincoln County, too. They were supposed to be down this year, and the Falcons have lost only one game, and that was to Independence.
Exactly. So you know, if Shelbyville were to knock off Independence here, then you've kind of got a three-way tie right there between those three looming at the end of the season if everything else plays out. So there's still a lot on the line in this ball game, and apparently we still don't know Andrew Bunch's status.
Yeah.
He looks like he did not play last week against Stewart's Creek. Adam Swayze threw for 193, ran for a bunch more. They beat Stewart's Creek with Bunch on the sideline yet again, their first game out of the bye week. So stay tuned.
You never know what's going to happen. The other big one, a couple of undefeated teams. Sycamore goes to Fairview. And I say undefeated in their region. Fairview got off to a tough start, Maurice, but just like Brentwood, they've come roaring back in this region schedule.
Well, again, sometimes it's not how many, but who.
Yeah.
And Fairview's beaten the right one so far. Like you said, they're undefeated in region play. They've got Hunter Zimmerman feeling good and being healthy. And when your quarterback's healthy, it makes a lot of difference, especially in the offense that Chris Hughes likes to run out there at Fairview. He had another big night last week. Threw for 174, ran around a little bit, made some things happen, threw for 3 touchdowns in a 41-6 win over Cheatham County. So they are starting to get everything right here at the right time as they come down the stretch.
They were worried about Cheatham County, and by the score, shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were.
Oh, yeah, they said they were.
Oh, well, it's a nice thing to say.
Coaches always say that, don't they?
Yeah. More than they should, probably.
Maurice, little crow I had to eat this week. Congratulations to the folks down at Summit. No, there's a lot of crow. The Spartans went out and just took it to Laverne. And, the Wolverines were supposed to be one of the top teams in that Region 5-5A coming into this. And all of a sudden, with a little bit of luck and a lot of heart, these Spartans have, I grant you, it's outside. They still have a chance, though, to make the playoffs.
Well, it's two things there. Laverne, like you said, has a boatload of talent. And, sometimes it doesn't always come together, and I think this was one of those Friday nights. Not to take anything away from Summit. Brian Coleman's got that young bunch playing hard and obviously playing well right about now. Huge win for them. Really kind of puts them back, mathematically speaking, in the chase. I mean, they've got a lot of people to jump over top of. We talked about Independence. We talked about Shelbyville. Talked about Lincoln County. Franklin County suddenly, who they've got this week. Big win over Columbia. So, I mean, there's a lot of folks that they've got to kind of maneuver around, but you can't count them out at this point.
Now, that whole region is about to get really wonky, as we used to say.
I think it already has.
Obviously. One big game up in Knoxville that's not near as big maybe as it might have been. We expected to see BGA go to Knox-Webb, both teams undefeated, met in the Blue Cross Bowl. Yeah, boy, I'm old. The Blue Cross Bowl last year. And surprising thing happened on the way to the forum partner. They both lost.
Yep. Knox-Webb lost to Donaldson Christian last week, and BGA took a tough one on the chin at home against Davidson Academy, 17-7. So
you think they both just overlooked their opponents, just so focused on this game?
No.
Okay.
I think they just played two good teams.
Oh, okay.
No, I think Davidson has kind of been lurking a little bit, and Jonathan Quinn in his second year over there as coach has done a pretty good job getting those guys playing with some confidence. They've got a quarterback they like in Kyle Gilbert that we've talked a little bit about, and I just think that maybe BGA didn't play as well as they were capable of playing, but I don't think Rock Patton is going to let that bunch overlook anybody. I just think maybe they got ambushed a little bit. Clay Beathard, 3 picks, and he's had some games where he's been a little careless with the football, and it kind of caught up with him this week.
Better for it to happen now than, say, the middle of late November.
No doubt. I mean, this is the time to get that stuff out of the way. Rock and his staff can get in there. They've kind of got their attention a little bit, as you tend to when a team suffers their first loss, kind of brings them back to earth a little bit, maybe humbles them a little bit. Maybe they listen a little bit harder and pay a little bit more attention. So I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game.
3 other teams in action this week. Franklin goes over to Wilson Central. Ravenwood goes to Lebanon. And so, Maurice, here we go. The Williamson County, Wilson County matchups that – oh, wait a minute. We got to go through Rutherford to get over there.
Yeah, you can't exactly get there from here. We talked about the reclassification. And
well, it could be going west where, you got to go past about 5 other counties to get to Paris. But anyways.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, folks.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll both be jumping on 840, I guess, and rolling over there. And, You know, it's not a bad drive if you leave early enough. You done? Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Final game we'll be watching for Friday night. Mount Pleasant comes to Franklin, or actually Leapers Fork, I guess, to visit with Grace Christian. I tell you what, Rusty Smith, Lynn McNatt, all the guys over there have done a job. These kids are winning games and being competitive.
You know, they had a tough one last week against Columbia Academy, but I think they've got to feel really good about what they've been able to get accomplished to this point of the season, and I think they've got a shot here against a Mount Pleasant team that maybe isn't as good as that program has been in the past, and that'd be a big one for them if they can pull it off.
Be a big one. It might put them to the point to where they'll be talked about for the playoffs in their second year next year.
Might be talked about this
Well,
year.
I wasn't going to jinx them. You did that, okay?
Yeah, blame it on me.
I always try to.
Yeah.
A couple of other notes for you real quick. Big shout-outs and congratulations to a couple of new state champions here at Williamson County. The Brentwood boys took home the Class 3A Boys State Golf Championship last week, and this week it was the girls at BGA in Division II Class A who got the opportunity to do that as they picked up the Girls State Championship in that class. So big congratulations to those programs. Maurice, it's time for us to get out of here, get ready for Friday night.
No, let's go.
Of course, Friday night you can follow all the action at WH Sports and some other places. You'll see other Twitters at Mo Patton Sports, among others.
Twitters, listen to this. Yeah.
Tweeters.
Twits? Oh, let's not go there either.
We've already had to do this twice. We're stopping right there, folks. For Maurice Patton and our guy behind the camera, Charles Pulliam, I'm whoever I'm supposed to be. We'll see you next time on the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra.